Hey, Smitty.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can now.
My headphones just my AirPods blew up, decided to quit working, so I'm on makeshift hardware.
That seems to be a common thing for you.
The Bluetooth on this laptop is just trash.
Huh.
Hello all.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Hello. We'll wait another minute to see if anyone else wants to join, and then we can get started. Let me share the link to the notes. It's in the chat. Feel free to sign yourself in if you would like to. Hopefully you can see my screen.
Yep.
Good. Alrighty. Okay, let's say we should get started. So welcome everyone. This is CDEvents working group. My name is Andrea Frittoli. I work for IBM. And yeah, I shared already the link to the notes. So thanks everyone for joining. So we usually start the agenda with any new attendees. I hope I'm not wrong, Christian. Is this your first time joining the meeting, or have you joined before?
I've joined before. I'm involved with the Event Provenance Registry project with Andrew and Brett. Yeah, was here a bit in early December, and then holiday break, and then past 2 weeks have forgotten about it. Last Monday was a holiday, so completely slipped my mind. And the Monday before, I don't have a valid excuse for, so I'm back.
Sorry about that. I had a brain reset over the holidays.
Okay.
Forgot everything from December. All right, then. If we have anyone else, any new faces, then well, good to see everyone. So then, action items. We had an action item from Owen to create an issue about capitalizing URI. It's been around for a while. Not heard from Owen, so I don't think this is. I think this is still open. Then I had an action item for myself to create an issue about conformance group, which I did. I put the URL in there. It's very simple at this stage, but at least we're tracking that. And I still have an outstanding action item to formalize the proposal. This described in 168 about custom event types. So yeah, still planning to work on that, but not at time yet. Yeah, and a couple of updates I wanted to provide. The first about the OpenTelemetry CI/CD observability. Just so this is, there was a proposal to create a working group within the OpenTelemetry community about CI/CD observability, and the proposal has been approved by the TC of the OpenTelemetry community. I just wanted to share that. I don't think there is at this stage any working group set up or anything yet in terms of meeting and so forth. But yeah, this is something that we are looking forward to collaborate with to see if there is any overlap between or any collaboration that can be done between the OpenTelemetry community and what we're doing here. Yeah, I'll just go on. If you have any question, please stop me. And also I wanted to briefly mention that the Rust SDK. So we have 2 new contributors, Hergy, which actually started late 2023 working on this, and David. So we set up the SDK repo and maintainer group, and there are a couple of PRs set up, like the base scaffolding, CI for the repo, and also generate a framework to generate the Rust code from the specification. So it's good to see this moving. In terms of consumers, David has a known project that he's working on where he would like to use the Rust SDK. I should have put the link to it here, but I haven't, so I'll look it up and then add it to the notes. Sorry about that. And also guac.sh, the open source project, is interested in having a Rust SDK to be able to inject, to consume our artifact events and inject SBOMs from there.
Andrea, we might have links to those in the project there, don't we? In the CDEvents in Tools project, or maybe I'm mistaken. Let me see if I'm wrong. We had it Rust, but no, I don't see Rust anymore. Maybe I didn't. Let's see.
I think I have it. So David shared a link to his project on Slack. I'm not sure whether it was with me or on the channel, so I just need to look for it.
No, it doesn't seem to be there, so I was probably wrong there.
Cool.
Yep.
Then things that I had in the agenda from last meeting, ticket proposal, link proposal, so there is a PR up. And yeah, feel free to add more things that you would like to discuss today. I added also one item at the bottom about the elections of the governing board. If we have some time after the other discussion, maybe we can bring that up. Yeah. Oh, welcome, Hergy. I was just thanks for joining today. I was just saying a couple of words about the Rust SDK, that work has started on that. So thanks for joining us today.
Hello, everyone.
Sorry, I don't want to put you on the spot. Would you like to introduce yourself to the group?
Yes, my name is Erzi. I'm a software engineer based in Frankfurt, Germany. I started contributing to the CDEvent back in 2020 or 21.
Oh, that long ago.
So now I'm working together with Andrea and another contributor on the SDK. His name is David. So we are working on the Rust SDK of the CD event.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for that. Sorry, Herge, I don't remember how to spell your surname on the top of my head. If you want to add it to the notes or sign yourself in, that'd be great. But you don't have to. Just share the link to the notes in the chat.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm here talking to myself. Sean, I saw you join today, and I saw there was a PR about the ticket proposal. I had no time to review it, unfortunately, yet. But is there anything you would like to discuss or present today about it?
I don't know if there's anything I really need to present. I just wanted to make sure you're aware of it.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for that. Definitely go and review it as soon as possible. And please, everyone else also review this. Okay. Then next on the agenda, I added the link proposal.
Yeah, unfortunately I didn't have time to work on it this week, but there's only a few things on there that I need to actually address. I think it's actually like one actual like comment, but the draft and all the comments that Emil and you, Andre, had, especially with like the dash draft, were addressed. But give me a couple days to address like the last resolved comments, because there's still I think there's one or two that are left. I want to get it at least all resolved before we do like the final review here. So I'll ping you guys on Slack when that happens. So
Cool, thanks.
yep.
Cool.
Yeah, and I added
next one.
this one. Yeah. So when I was updating the outcome fields, I noticed that there were 2 events. So there's a total of 5 events, right, that have this outcome field, 2 of which actually have enums. But I wanted you, if you can click that real quick, Andrea. So generally, most of our verbiage and predicates and whatnot are usually past tense, right? And I noticed that these weren't. These were just like pass, fail, cancel, error. So I was wondering if if we're okay with that, because most of our verbiage are in the past tense, right? So I thought that was a little odd. And then secondly, there are enums defined for this, right? But for build, past doesn't really make sense, right? Because I was considering taking this enum object and making it actually an object potentially, but I'll probably just do it easy first, just copy and paste this. The reason why I asked, because changing any of these values would be a breaking change, right? Yeah. But the other 3 do not have, well, one of the fields is completely missing out of the build finish. And then the other 2 are just strings, right? So the question is, are we okay with this one? And then for build, since past doesn't work, should we just put in success? Should we do past tense? So that's kind of more of what I wanted to discuss here.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid question, actually, Bender. And I think, if I remember correctly, I'm trying to find it now, but I think we had some discussion when these test events were introduced on this wording. We didn't maybe go into very deep discussions about them, but I think we we mentioned it. I think we talked about this past present tense.
Oh, really? Okay, okay.
Whether it should be, and I was actually I proposed also to have past tense there, but I don't remember now why it wasn't finally made that way.
Okay, I can look at the past. We can definitely look at the past PR and to take a look at the review comments, because it is a little confusing, because anyone that's like using CDEvents, everything's in past tense, and then you have these enums, right, which are not in past tense, even though it's a past tense, or it's an event that happened in the past. So it is a little confusing. So I just want to make sure any choices we make, especially around breaking changes, make sense and is best for the community. So, like I said, this was a big enough concern that I felt like I wanted to first bring it up before I just made a PR or updated my PR to, with my opinions on this. But I wanted to get everyone's feedback first.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember the context either, unfortunately, but I think past tense would make sense as well. I wonder if an option here would be to extend the enum with the past tense
Yeah, I think.
options, so that would not be breaking. And we could maybe deprecate the non-past tense and remove them eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, I could be fine with that if we deprecate them and remove them eventually. I wouldn't like that we have multiple ways to express the same thing in the long run. So I guess when reaching a 1.0 state of the protocol, we should have one. This would be one example then where we should only have one way to express it. But until then, for sure, we could have duplicate values or multiple values. It will put some stress on the consumers that they would need to recognize multiple values for a passing or a fail. But yeah,
I definitely think, because we're so early still, I think breaking changes is probably okay. Like, I mean, okay in the sense that people know things are going to change. However, one thing that we could potentially do, well, obviously the version is going to be updated, so that could be some helpful, that could help some people, but we could also ping the person, the original reviewer that also submitted this change, to see if that's okay with them. Because if they say it's okay, then I'd be more inclined to just drop them and change it. However, if they say, if they have some issues with it, then I'd be like, okay, maybe we should just deprecate, and then drop them later. If we're okay with going with that approach, because like Emil had said, like, having two is really, it's going to complicate a lot of flows. And then people, if they see two, like, they might not even know, unless we, obviously we would say they were deprecated. But, when you're doing, like when you're using the SDKs, depending on your IDE, it might not even warn you whether or not it's deprecated, right? So they'll be like, oh, what the hell? Which one do I use, right? So that might be even more confusing. And then, yeah, so yeah, I think there's plenty of reasons to see if we can do a best effort in dropping these. And then something in the future as well, if we look at the past PR and where we wanted to use past tense, maybe we need to ensure that any predicates, any verbiage that comes in is always in past tense. Be a little bit more strict, maybe have some way of like, I guess, yeah, just documenting that. Yeah, exactly. To say, that any predicate, any verb, anything that should be past tense should be past tense. So just to kind of make that obvious. But yeah, okay, I'll do a little bit of research and then I'll post my findings later today around the PR that was open, and then I'll ping the original author if they would be okay with these set of changes, and then kind of go from there. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yeah.
I would
cool,
think the PR here as well.
All right, cool.
Maybe one caveat with that, at least based on the enum values that we were looking at a second ago, would be, where it is verbs, we can certainly make it past tense, but error is typically treated as more of a noun. So I don't know if we wouldn't say like errored. I don't know. That kind of sounds off to me.
I think, yeah, I
Failed, I guess.
think,
Yeah. Failed is the verb, isn't it?
yeah, verbs would be past tense. Yeah, we can definitely figure out like which enums we want. Error definitely is more of a noun than it is a verb. So I think you're absolutely right there. But yeah, we like I said, we can figure out what we want to do for each of these, but error in this sense is both past, present, and future, right? So I think it's okay just keeping error as error.
So we have the same, not just in the testing event, but also in the
yeah, there was two.
and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
testing, right?
Yeah, there was
There we
two.
have the outcome as well, and there we call it success, error, or failure. I'm not sure why we differ between error and failure, but and that's not either past tense; it's also present tense. So
Yeah. So yeah. So that's something I was gonna also change, and that was one of the things that I made in my PR. It doesn't have error. It has I think it was succeeded, failed, and canceled were the three. And I felt like error just it almost was synonymous with like failed. So I was just like, I don't know if we need it. That's why I was thinking about whether or not we need error, and I needed to look back. But yeah, I'll probably keep those three, but I first want to make sure I want to talk with the original author to make sure that the changes that I'm making, past tense, and then potentially not having error, just having failed, be fine. The only caveat with failed is that if you cared, yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess test failure versus like, well, this is for test versus like it erroring out, like the system erroring out. I guess that would be the only difference I would see. But yeah, like I said, I'll reach out and I'll figure out what needs to be done here. But like I said, there was a lot of questions and like thinking that needed to be done here. I was like, okay, I felt like there's too many big enough decisions to be made. I wanted to bring it up, but it sounds like we're all kind of on the same page here. So, but yeah, sounds like I have some action items here. So I'll go ahead and do everything that needs to be done here.
Yeah, I was just going to say that
Excellent.
most test systems that I've used do use error and failure to differentiate between an error in the tests or an error outside of the scope of the test.
Yeah,
Like an
that's
error
what I
in
was
the test
thinking.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm pretty sure that's what we discussed at the time. So failure would be a failed assertion, while error would be some prerequisite that fails. And related to that, I think I think it's the case that probably all different subjects will need their own enum because semantics are slightly different. Like in this case of tests, you have error and failed. In other, like for a build, it probably doesn't make sense. So I think it's good to have separate enums for different subjects.
Okay. Yeah. The only issue I have with that is that if one changes, you have to duplicate, that n number of times. But like I said, I have been, like I said, I mentioned this many months ago, but I am working on code generation, so that should at least solve that issue sometime in the future. Where it can probably have some way of differentiating various different subjects to know what is passed, what is succession or succeeded, maybe with like an annotation or something of that for like things that have like what is it called, differences, I guess. But yeah, so yeah, I'll definitely do what's actionable first and then kind of go from there.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ben. Anything else on this?
No, that was primarily it. That's why I know last time I said I was gonna have a PR updated immediately, but then as I was looking at this, I was just like, oh, I guess I can't. So yeah, but yeah, I'll definitely have all the actions done later today.
Thanks. I guess, Emil, you had the Eiffel reference here.
Yeah, it's just that we don't need to talk about too much about it. I just added it for reference for you, Ben, when you look into this, the different proposals.
Cool.
You can have it for reference and see whether you think that makes more sense or not. We
Okay,
actually
yeah.
that's using the term outcome as an object that would contain like a description and also a verdict and those things.
Oh, interesting.
Instead of just
Okay.
having the one enum word for the actual verdict or outcome, whatever you want to call it.
Okay,
So
yeah, definitely a
take a
different
look at it
approach.
and see whether it makes sense to you, and we can, yeah.
Yeah,
take the
for
best
sure.
of
All
it.
right, cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Next on the agenda is the CDEvent workshop. Right, would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, so we're still working on getting some updates in the EPR so that it's not such a skeleton of service. And then I've actually started writing some stuff for the workshop, so yay. And I'm working on the command line utility for the EPR because doing lots of posts of large pieces of JSON with curl was unwieldy, to say the least. So I've got that part, moving along. Hopefully next week or two. I'm still shooting for like end of the month to have that workshop, like at least enough to bring to this group and let us go through it. Outside of my everyday work that I have to do. So hopefully we get to continue to make progress. I know the team's been working pretty hard on, on getting these features in that we need. So, and then I'll leave Andrew to talk about the blog post that's going to announce it.
Yeah, so if we're ready to move on, I wrote up the draft of a blog post that kind of goes through EPR, some of the history behind it, why we wrote it, how it works, and some of the problems and benefits we had with it. I put that, Smitty's got a contact in marketing, so we routed that to him before the holidays, and everything was kind of slow, but now it's all picked up. So marketing and legal have greenlit it. So I was actually starting to draw up some diagrams as we were sitting here to help clarify some of the more complicated pieces. But once those are done and once we get the updates to EPR that we need so that we can actually show it off to people and it doesn't look like a train wreck, I think we'll be ready to talk about publishing it, hopefully in the next month.
Yeah, my hope is to publish it in conjunction with announcing the workshop, hopefully.
Yeah, and then as Smitty mentioned in the notes, we got our contact in marketing is planning on writing another blog post for SAS's blog, I guess.
Yeah, I guess for SAS's developer community blog.
But he's gonna point to the CDF post once we get it out there. So he seemed pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I've been thinking that the next blog post after this one, this is the announcement blog post, but the next one would be like, look what we can do with with this particular EPR, and then we'll go and maybe support the CDEvents workshops even more with you know, look, we were able to use CDEvents with this. You know, you can store them using this thing, you can retrieve them using this thing. You know, here's how this works. This is what we used it for, that type of stuff. So hopefully we get another blog post going after this one goes out.
How strict is SAS legal with it already being approved and us making like minor edits? Like if Andrew creates some diagrams and inserts those and has a line added of like, see figure 3, something like that, does it need to be reapproved, or is it, or like we're fine to make those minor edits after the fact?
We're fine as long as we don't add like a new paragraph that says that, you know, SAS is, you know, blah, right?
Yeah.
SAS is gonna get hacked because of X, right? As long as we don't have something like that, we're fine. So adding diagrams is fine.
Okay.
And now adding diagrams that we created, that SAS on SAS time with SAS hardware is okay. Adding stuff that we don't own is not okay. So if I went out on the internet and just Googled up some pictures and stuffed it in the blog post, then it'd have to be reevaluated. But I've been told straight from legal, I don't even bother with using external GIFs and stuff. Just don't even bother. Don't do that. So
Okay, just making sure the current approval isn't like a strict content freeze.
nah, should be
Yeah.
okay.
Cool. So I think that's about all I got.
Cool. That's great. Thanks for that. And I was trying to figure out, I think the workshop working group actually has a new lead on the CDF side. I was trying to figure out the name. I cannot find it right now, but I will find it and add it in the notes. But in any case, I think it's fine to also talk to Roxanne and or Michelle about this. So
Yeah. Yeah, I put them up there because they're on I've got a channel and I've got a running conversation with them in Slack
Yep.
over the CDEvents workshop where they're like, are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? So
yeah, they told me about that. Cool. All right. Oh yeah, link to the workshop. Thanks for that.
oh good, thank you.
All righty. Anything else? Anyone? Okay. I think that the last thing that I wanted to bring up, if you agree, Emil, that's about the election. So you may remember, end of 2023, we set up formal governance policies for the CDEvents project. And so we allocated up to 5 seats for the governing board. And so we'll have another year mandate, myself and Emil, for 2024 to ensure continuity on the governing board. But there are 3 seats up for election for a 2-year mandate. And so the first thing is actually to find election officials, and we plan for 2. And I think we have 1, Emil, right? I think Eric said is available to do that. But we are still looking for another election official.
Yeah, I could probably do that if needed.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. So I think the only caveat is that whoever is doing election official should not be a nominee in the election as well. So in case you were thinking or interested,
got it. Okay, no. In that case, yeah, I'll probably be part of it, or being a nominee. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense then.
And also that's, I mean, it's not a strict requirement, but we were preferring myself and Emil not to be election officials to make sure we don't have anyone from within the governing board acting as an official, to keep that separated. So if anyone is interested in either being an election official or nominating themselves, please keep this into consideration. So if you want to be an election official, reach out to myself or Emil, or both of us. And then once we have the election officials, they will. But what they will do is basically coordinate the election. So send out the email asking for nominations when nominations are coming in, answering that so that the nomination is officially accepted. And then if we have more than 3 candidates, so more than the seats actually available, then we will hold an election, and again the election official will coordinate that. If we don't have more than 3 candidates, we won't actually hold an election as long as the nominee are accepted by the election officials as complying with the requirements for being nominee. Maybe I should put a link to the governance documentation reference.
Probably not a Tecton one, right?
Did I put? Oh gosh, sorry.
It's the same, yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Any questions on this? All right. What else? No, I don't think there is anything. I don't have anything else. Anything else anyone would like to discuss, bring up today? All right, sounds like a no. So, well, great to see everyone. Again, please go and review the ticket proposal if you're interested in that. And looking forward to see everyone next week. Have a good rest of your day.
Cool. All right. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Talk to you later.
Everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.